Yeah, this is Fern. She just jumped on. We just want to kind of do a review of her experience in the vagus nerve stimulation and repair program. So, tell us a little bit about you, Fern. Like where you're from, what do you do, and what was the impetus to join the program in the first place, and we'll kind of go through from there.
Well, I'm from Ontario, Canada. When I started the program, I was in Pennsylvania, and partways through, I made a huge switch to moving back to Canada.
Mhm.
I've had long-term chronic illness, Lyme disease, a lot of complications from that, and depression, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, just a whole 9 yards of a lot of chronic illnesses, and being on a lot of medications and damages and a lot of negative side effects from them.
Mhm.
So my life has been changing. My health was returning as far as physical health, but there's always been a missing piece that I could never get on top of the autonomic nervous system
Mhm.
disorder that was going on. A lot of pot symptoms, just that always feeling like my body was in fighting mode,
Mhm.
never getting to the point where my brain would slow down enough that I could even really cope with life.
Right. Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, you joined about now 3 months ago into the program. Got yourself set up with some of the technology we use, some of the supplementation, some of the exercises. And I understand that even in the midst of the program, you had to move internationally. So you had a big move that came up suddenly. So that must have added a lot of the like pressure onto the recovery process for you. Is that right?
It did, because it was really hard emotionally. I was very settled there and very much loving life. And it was very unexpected
Yeah.
that it came up. And it just, yeah, brought a ton of emotions and feelings. And
Mhm.
it was really tough, but it
Yeah.
was really amazing. I had been in the program for about a month at that point,
Mhm.
and I was really depressed when I found out what was happening. And, but we talked about it, and I kept working through the program, and it was just amazing the difference that there was with breaking through
Mhm.
that depression and realizing that, you know what, this is what's happening. I can choose to go along with it and to accept it and be okay with it, or I can just live in the dumps. But before I would have done the program, I wouldn't have been able to step back and look at that and realize it, because my brain was just in that go 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 all the time, and it was that mental chaos where there was no space to even step back and look at
Mhm.
what was going on from a conscious level.
Definitely. Yeah. I definitely noticed like a lot more of a like a calming um approach to life when in
Yes.
that ensuing time. And I remember you even said something like normally I would be almost like freaking out that I would
Yeah.
have to, be uprooted because of COVID to a whole new country all of a sudden last minute.
Yeah.
But normally it would have been a lot for you, but you're like, I'm actually handling myself really well. Like I'm actually calm, cool, and collected through
And
this.
then
So interesting.
the 2 weeks after I came back, I needed to do quarantine. So
Mhm.
totally alone for 2 weeks. And
Mhm.
there would have been a time like going through a change like that, that would have been very depressing. And those 2 weeks would have been really, really tough. I would have cried a lot of the time. And this time I really found I needed those 2 weeks of calm to connect with
Yes.
myself. And I was
Yes.
okay with it, like totally connected with myself, and had a lot of trauma release actually just happened then as well,
Mhm.
because of my body was so much calmer and safer to let go of
Mhm.
a ton of stuff it was hanging on to.
Yeah, and then you also had been going to was it a physical therapist or was it a massage therapist
Yes,
who had seen you quite a few times before and
yes.
after? What was it that they told you about, the quality of the muscle tension?
Difference between night and day.
Mm.
They're like, before you were tight, you were so tight, we couldn't even do anything. It was like a brick wall. I often said I had a brick wall syndrome. It just felt like they could never get further than the top.
Mm.
And now it's like you have the tight muscles like a normal person now, and we can
Mhm.
actually get somewhere, and your body doesn't fight it. I used to go into tremors and muscle twitches very, very quickly, and full body tremors, and there's none of that anymore.
Mm. That's great. That's really amazing that, so it put you into a state of like safety, relaxation, so
Yes,
your body
very
could
much.
actually start to really receive some of the healing that you've been doing for quite a long time.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
And
fantastic.
even some of my other programs I'm doing as far as Lyme disease healing and all of that
Mhm.
have definitely progressed. And I notice differences as I am able to be calm and do more meditating,
Mhm.
that type of thing along with it. I definitely get much greater results as well
Mm.
from my other program.
Mm. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's really amazing. That's we're trying to put the body into like that state of parasympathetic rest and relaxation and repair. So
Yes.
I'm really happy to hear that. Now, in terms of some of the other stuff, what were some of the effects you noticed in terms of stimulating your vagus nerve? We in the program we give people a few tools, for some natural things, some technology. What were some of the side effects of, or symptoms, or relief, or whatever? What would you describe that as using it in the first month, and as you've progressed? What was that like
As,
for you?
as far as physical symptoms,
Yeah, physical and mental. So what were some of the changes you experienced, like, immediately after, using some of the direct vagal nerve stimulation technology, or any of those things?
well, the first month was a little rough because I
Mhm.
was doing a couple things together,
Yeah.
and it definitely was pretty rough for a little bit there.
Mm.
It I had some vasovagal syncope with
Mhm.
it, especially, well, even that was 2 months into the program. I had a weekend that was really bad,
Yeah.
and I found since I can really back off on the ultrasound and not need near as much
Hmm.
before. And even now, like when I do it, I start yawning almost right away, and I just want to
Right.
yawn the whole time, and I never used to do that.
Mm.
Just my body's just so much more relaxed and
Mm.
in that state where I, as soon as I do it, even if I'm tense when I start, I very quickly go into that parasympathetic state.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now,
Good.
another thing that was very fascinating for me was the whole diabetic
Yeah. Tell us about that a little
component
bit,
to
because
it.
you were explaining to me about, some of your numbers, your blood sugar levels, your insulin levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, feel free to describe what went on.
So before I had started this, I was already on the keto diet, and I was type 2 diabetic. I was, by the time I started this, I wasn't quite off all my meds in about 5 months' time with keto.
Mhm.
But then I was started noticing if I did the ultrasound in the evening, my fasting glucose was higher. So I switched to doing it in the morning, and my glucose came down. So it obviously was affecting glucose levels.
Mhm.
But then what was really super fascinating was about a month ago, I drank an iced coffee, which was like 40 grams of carbs.
Mm.
Right now I'm at about 25 a day
Oh, wow.
versus 40 in one iced coffee. And my levels went up. I expected them to, but they went up in the normal range of what you would expect a non diabetic,
Mm.
which 6 months ago I would have been double or triple that. But
Wow.
I felt disgusting just from that amount.
Yeah.
So about an hour after I did the ultrasound for 5 minutes on each side of the neck, plus I took one of my supplements for my glucose levels.
Mhm.
And in half an hour, I was down within fasting range.
Wow.
It
That's
just blew
tremendous.
me away that
Huh.
the ultrasound did that.
Yeah.
I don't think it was I know it wasn't the supplements alone.
Mhm.
It was definitely the ultrasound that was very much involved with that. And I would definitely say doing it on the stomach area as well has definitely helped me feel a lot more confident and okay with myself. Like,
Mm.
I think you said it boosts the serotonin levels.
Yes. Yeah.
And
80 to 90% of your serotonin is in your gut.
yeah, I would say since doing that, like, well, it's been a part of this too, that I used to really struggle with going out with crowds. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, crowds aren't very big right now with the whole COVID thing, but still, it's way more than what I would have ever been comfortable for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go out now and be in a group of 5 people and feel like I have a space around myself that feels safe. I'm okay with who I am, and I can connect with them and stay present. It doesn't take everything I have to flee or else to freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm.
yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, it can absolutely. What you're talking about here is something that I talk about a lot, which is the connection between your your social nature, and the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
And when your vagus nerve is working properly, you can better merge with people, be in a community, um,
Yes.
engage in on the social sphere of life. So that's
Yes.
really great to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's that. And what else? Let's see. And some of the things we do is, digestion. There's how you feel, your confidence levels, your calmness levels.
And
Um, mhm,
looking at the whole calm part and being able
mhm,
to relax more has definitely helped me a lot with the whole spiritual side of life too, as far as being able to meditate and to connect with God more, just because my mind isn't in that mental chaos all the time.
mm, yeah.
It's been huge. It's been a lot for me in this whole program has been mindset as well,
Hmm.
and looking at how I look at life and my goals
Mm,
and passions. And there's stuff coming out that I have put down for years because it took everything I had
mm,
to be able to live day to day
mm,
without even thinking about where I might want to go someday because
mm.
of my chronic illness. I was pretty much in bed all the time, and it's just been huge to be able to look at life and realize that there is a possibility of having a life again and
Mm.
being a part of even the working world and reaching out to people and um, offering people hope because I found it myself.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Fran. It's like somebody's cutting onions in here, honestly.
Yeah.
It's really sweet of you. Yeah, that's beautiful. I know you got more familiar with like meditation, with
Yeah.
spirituality, through the program, and we're able to kind of calm that inner chatter. One of the other things I kind of teach or talk about a little bit is just how much of the vagus nerve is the conduit upon which your body communicates to your brain. And when the body is not regulated, it's almost like that creates the chatter in our heads.
Yes.
And so when we're able to calm the vagus nerve down, we can reduce that inner chatter and give ourselves some mental freedom, but also some physical body freedom.
And that reminded me too of just the whole thing about being able to feel yourself, feel your body, that
Mm,
connection to be um, just so much more in tune with my body and
mhm,
what's going on in it.
mm,
Um, some of the meditations I do a lot of grounding, and I don't think that would have ever worked before
mm, mm.
because I think it's what you said there, like the vagus nerve is that connection, and if that's not working, then can you feel grounded? Probably not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I just thought of another side effect symptom that I had for a little bit was
Mhm,
the right side. I was okay doing ultrasound on, but the left side I would get very tingly,
Huh.
like pins and needles it was probably for the first couple weeks.
Okay.
Or was it a couple weeks in when it started? I forget. There was a couple weeks in there where
Mm.
I had like a lot of issues with the left side. When I would do ultrasound, would get very tingly pins and needles. The right
Mm.
side was always fine, which
Mm.
was interesting too, because my left side has always been where I have the most issues with my muscles and
Mm.
nerves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That has disappeared again. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. In the initial kind of phases of your body kind of getting used to these things, it can, yeah, kind of kick off some sensations, some somatic
Yeah.
sensations for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing the ultrasound on my sacrum as well. I don't know if you
Okay.
want me to talk about that.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Um, so initially started that to hopefully help with constipation, which I think it has some. I haven't seen the results I wish to see, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep on with it.
Okay.
That is a long-term issue with me, so maybe it's just going to take more time. But the thing that it did for me was pretty much took care of my restless leg, restless pelvis symptom that I get.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hormonal for me,
Mm-hmm.
those symptoms. But last month they weren't there.
Mm.
And that has been getting worse over the past couple of years. It's enough to just but drive me up a wall. It's so intense.
Mm.
And this time was I can't say it was totally gone. I felt it a wee little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and part of me wanted to start freaking out, but it's like, no, just go into it and be okay with it. And then I woke up the next morning and it's like, okay, so what happened?
Mm.
Because it used to keep me up at least one night a month.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of hormonal regulation that seems to happen with this as well.
Yes.
Especially for women, their monthly cycle. We've had a lot of people who have like really severe, um, uh, PMS symptoms
Yes.
that seem to go back to some normal level, or at least a lot less than what they were before.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
hoping mine balance out more yet. I feel like I've started the journey, but it's definitely
Mm.
not over yet. And I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see,
Mm.
what all changes could come up in the next um, few months.
Yeah.
One huge one that I have noticed is my heart rate dropped a lot. I
Okay.
used to run on average between 80 and 100 all the time. And now
Wow.
my average is more like 70. I even see down below 50 on my
Okay.
monitor during the night,
Wow.
which I
That's
never,
tremendous.
ever used to see that.
Right. Yeah, having an elevated heart rate like that for that long is not good. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that would basically indicate that there was a good switch between a sympathetic dominant state where you're in a state of fight or flight and fear, high adrenaline, to more activating the parasympathetic branch
Yes.
to start
Yes.
calming yourself down, putting you into a state of safety, of
Yeah.
belonging, of community, and even repair as well. Because when your body's in parasympathetic, then your body says, okay, now we can start healing more
Hmm.
than we were before in a state of, like like this.
Yeah.
That's really
And
cool.
to have the tools when I am out, like
Mm,
say with people and I'm not connecting, like in a church service, for example, I'm not connecting and I feel very like I'm going into sympathetic and just fighting and want to flee, to have
mm,
the tools now to work with my breath and also mindset and to be able to switch that without leaving the situation
mm-hmm. Yeah,
is huge.
that's huge. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, those are real life skills you'll keep with you forever. You'll
Yeah.
have that till every day you're
Yeah.
alive.
And
Um,
what means so much is to see
mm,
friends notice it and get
yeah.
excited. And they're like, what are you doing? Because we see changes.
Mm,
When I came back from Pennsylvania, I had been down there for 6 months and they're like, okay, something happened. Like,
right.
you're not the same person anymore. And
Mhm.
it's just so exciting and
Mm,
so I just can't thank God enough for bringing me to this program. It was
mm,
just so huge in my recovery journey. And like I said,
yeah.
it's not over.
Mm,
I definitely have work to do yet, but it's been a huge leap forward these last 3 months.
yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic to see your evolution, your growth, your transformation. through the whole program. I'm really excited to see, where you are now, and also where you'll be in 3 months and 6 months and in a whole year's time. I would love to see, you kind of pursuing some of your bigger goals once your healing has really started to take hold. If you want, you could share a little bit about what kind of where you're working now, and like where you're kind of putting some of your time and energy now that you have that.
Yes, I'm kind of feel like I'm between a couple things. I have a part-time secretary job or bookkeeping job, but I'm also doing a lot of research on the program that I use for my healing journey
Mhm.
and hoping to share it with friends. It's a company that works pretty much entirely online, and they do have an office in Idaho, but um, their promotions and stuff are all online. And I have a very large group of people that I relate with that have no access to internet, anything like that. And I know how much this company has done for me.
Mhm.
And I know the hope that there is there for so many people. So I've been working at researching and getting the information on the website into PDF format so that I can print it to give to people. And hopefully, eventually, what I would like to do is start coaching with that company,
Mhm.
um, or working with their commission program, and then being able to be that link in between these people who have no access and the company, just for ordering and support and all of that.
That's
It's very
fantastic.
cool.
And that's a great resource, because, those who don't have access to that information are just like, not feeling good, and they need that help. And so I love that
Exactly.
you're putting yourself out there, and really taking on the task of kind of bringing those materials to people out in the public. So
Yes.
I'm really excited to see, what holds, in your future.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
And then one last question would be, do you have any words of encouragement, or any message for anybody who's like thinking about joining the program, or maybe somebody who's on the fence? What would you tell them right now if they were in your position, if they were on that call with me or one person on my team? What would you say to them?
Just do it. There's so much that it changes in your life to put yourself into it. It took energy, it took time, it took commitment, but it was worth every single penny for me in
Mm,
the changes it has made. And I'm so blessed to have a support team behind me with it as well.
mm,
But yeah, I, I can't express how much it's changed my life.
mm.
Um, we should have done one of these before so we could see the before and after.
I think I have some recordings of you from our original weekly coaching calls, actually. So maybe I'll
uh,
those up. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can tell, I have seen huge transformations in terms of, your energy, your sweetness, your ambition, your dreams. Your dreams have gotten bigger even since we first spoke. So,
Yes. And
um,
I don't think there's anybody that's beyond that point of hope
mhm,
that won't find any change. Like,
yeah.
even if sometimes I feel even if I would have gotten a fraction of the way how far I did, it would have been
Mm.
worth it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Just to be able to enjoy life and to be free from depression that I had for years and years. And I had come to the point where I was okay with being on medication the rest of my life, high
Mm,
doses, because if I can function, that's great. And to be at the point, well, that was only a little over a month in. I think I told you on a call that I'm starting to realize that I can have a vibrant, functioning, fully functional life even without medication.
mhm,
No, I'm not at the point yet of starting to go off. I'm going to probably wait through the winter yet,
mhm.
but I am getting excited about it. And I didn't think that day would ever come. And I was okay with
Mm,
that because I
yeah.
could live with it.
Mm. That's wonderful. Yeah, I love everything you're saying. It's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, thank you so much, Fern, for coming on here and telling your story. And yeah, I hope that all of us can kind of see and follow more of your journey as we go.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Very
Thank
good.
you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna sign off, and I'll talk to you very soon. Okay.
Okay, sounds
Talk in the
good.
background.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, Fern.
Yeah,
Take care. Bye
yeah.
bye.